Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering the Six Deadly Sins, seasons 1 and 2.
I think you're missing one.
Yeah, well, so was the show.
Nah, he's just too overpowered. He couldn't be in the first season.
Uh-huh. More overpowered than Meliodas being able to literally, kill anything.
You'd be surprised.
More overpowered than Bon, who literally can't die and therefore can, literally just be the thing that wins the day every single time. Anyway, today we're covering the Seven Deadly Sins, seasons 1 and 2. Of course, there will be spoilers for it. You'll find a link in the description below to all the places you can rent, purchase, or stream this series with price comparisons for renting and purchasing, although I don't know if that's even available. For us here in the US, it's available on Netflix. You can join us next week for Rango and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Slingshot and the Marvel one-shots. By the way, this is a re-recording. If you watched yesterday's episode, you know that episode, this one, and one other coming up um, are being re-recorded because the audio was lost. But anyway, you can find a link in the description below to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes of this show before they release, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books. And that podcast is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. And also in the description is a link to Spotify for Podcasters, which has links to every platform that this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter, where you can be notified when we release a new episode. If you'd like to support the podcast but can't do so financially, the best way is to listen to it on Spotify. We've recently lost monetization on all of our episodes, and the only way for us to get monetization again is for us to get more listeners on Spotify specifically, because that's how they wanted to do this. But anyway, with all that being said, just another thing. I apologize if my voice sounds weird today. Uh, it is summertime and my allergies are acting up.
I was about to say, you sounding more dead than the last recording.
Yeah, because I'm dead inside and allergies. Alright, so please get out if you'd like to avoid spoilers, because we're going to talk about this series now.
Well, this just 2 seasons.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I have to say, this is like the building blocks for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I
You,
hope this series gets better. Not that this is bad, it just feels derivative.
yeah,
Um,
you could be
like,
watching a whole lot worse. But at this stage, you could probably be watching a few things better.
yeah, like I had said in our last attempt at recording this, it feels very much like Fairy Tale with how all of the characters have their own unique power.
You know,
And like the
okay, I've
setting
always
being
wondered
very, let me
about.
finish.
Sorry.
Yeah, with the setting being very medieval and each character having their own unique magic power, it very much feels like Fairy Tale.
I never really get the match. Like they all have their own unique magical power. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like they start doing that less and less. Though now that I think about it, there are a few prime examples of some characters that just go like, "This is my magical power." Like, bruh, really?
Yeah. That said, also Fairy Tale also has demons and it actually doesn't have fairies. Um
What about giants?
uh there's a character who can transform into a giant.
What about goddesses?
That's questionable. There are characters who practice a type of magic called god slaying, but we've never actually seen a god or a goddess.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Which, okay, the goddess clan. is not actually like what we would interpret as gods. They're more of angels, but
Yeah.
they are holy.
Yeah, and
They
then
don't
like
let.
the worst of the demons is considered the Ten Commandments.
Yes, I always found that funny.
But yeah, I don't know. Something about this show, it doesn't quite sit with me because like it feels like there's no stakes. Like I feel like our main characters are just too overpowered most of the time. Like I don't feel like anything is really a threat to them. Even the main villain, whatever his name was.
Hendrickson.
Um yeah, that guy. Even when he like gets the demon blood, I still didn't really feel like he was a threat because I was like, yeah, I've seen Meliodas just pull random crap out of his ass before throughout this season, like breaking out of the goddess amber randomly.
Well, I mean, well, okay. There is they did explain that the goddess Amber can only keep red and gray demons, I believe. Maybe they can keep a blue demon. I don't think they've ever confirmed that.
I didn't know that blue demons existed.
Yeah, they just show up one day. You don't really have
But
to worry about it.
yeah, I don't know. And this show kind of just throws random shit at you sometimes, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. I guess this is happening now. Like when King Arthur showed up, I was like, what? Okay. Yeah,
The first season definitely loved throwing random shit. Though the every season going on from now, the more this show goes on, the more everything that they want to use has already been predefined, right?
I
They've
hope
already.
so. Cause like randomly throwing in King Arthur, like that's weird to me. And like I had even when I was watching it the first time through, I had jokingly when they like mentioned Merlin, I was like Merlin as in like the King Arthur Merlin. And then yeah, it is the King Arthur Merlin, kind of. Although
There's more to meet the eye with this Merlin. Don't just discount her as a King Arthur Merlin clone just yet.
yeah, I know. It's just I don't know. It feels like this show is kind of random at times, but also like the random ass pulls where the character just wins because they are so ridiculously overpowered. It didn't feel like I should care about the villains at all. And
Yeah,
like I said in the first recording, it really kind of irked me when it's revealed that Gale Thunder is under like mind control bullshit.
I did. Okay, that really did like throw me off, and it wasn't mind control. He was just being watched, so he had to perform a performance for the people that was watching him, or else they could
Whatever.
kill that other person.
Whatever.
Blackmail.
Like still though, it just kind of annoyed me.
Like when I first watched this show, it definitely threw like sorry, I'm blanking here. It it definitely felt like a curveball, and the next when I actually watched it for our last recording, every time he was on screen, I was like, "Oh, hey, there's that bird watching him. Oh, hey, there's that bird watching him." I was like, "Oh, this is a lot more foreshadowed than I remembered."
I mean, it still feels like kind of not
Cheap.
executed the greatest way it could have been because like his entire demeanor, his mannerisms, like even the way that he speaks
I
completely
won't deny that.
changes.
Yeah, I won't deny that. um, I mean, they completely changed up the ending for the first season.
This is like if Agent Ward went in the opposite direction.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Eh,
they
if y'all don't know who, if, for y'all listening, if y'all don't know who that is, watch Agents of Shield.
yeah, they if I had to guess, I just think that it just the show wasn't well defined at this stage. And
Yeah,
it took them completely changing the story and how that was going.
yeah, and then like also just randomly like revealing that one of the villain characters that they are fighting is like a former best friend of King's. Like that was a whole thing. I will say like that was still kind of enjoyable. I don't know if like that close to the finale of the season is a
They
good time to be
yeah,
revealing like King and Deanne's backstory. I feel like maybe you should have given us some of that beforehand.
this is okay. It's a little bit weird, but there's a few things wrong with like the abridged series that this got. I mean, they couldn't even finish. What they did for King and Harlequin actually was a good story. I will admit that they changed that sort of dynamic to be so stupid, but actually makes sense in the story to the point where it's a little bit more emotional than what we see here.
Yeah, and then like I don't know, like King erasing her memories, um, like when he has to leave is just kind of. I would say it's kind of a dick move.
He does reflect on that dick move.
Yeah, and then like season two, you have that episode where like she might be saying that she remembers. I don't know. It was kind of vague.
Yeah, um,
But then
the
like it didn't even
beginning.
matter because King doesn't remember that day at all. So
Yeah, on that entire episode was more for the audience than for the characters.
yeah, which kind of annoyed me as an audience member because I like for the episodes I watch to actually like matter. I don't really like filler episodes in stuff that much if you can't tell.
Well, I mean, that entire season was just for filler, so like, I mean,
Yeah,
I would have to
it was
say they did the filler the best way they could.
it was
They
four
just,
filler episodes with a scene that actually mattered at the end.
yeah, like I was trying to say, they did filler the best way they could, just getting all of the more important things that they want to tell to the audience right in like this little season, and then they're back running with more plot heavy right in the next season.
Yeah, and then like Fairy Tale, which I've brought up a couple of times, it has filler too. A lot of the times it's like one episode filler, which like yeah, I typically skip those on a rewatch. But then it also has arcs, which are considered to be filler arcs because they don't exist in the manga and they don't really add anything to the overall story. However, they are multiple episode long story arcs. So I just kind of watch those on rewatches.
Hmm.
Because if you don't like if you haven't read the manga and you don't know that these arcs don't exist in the manga, they don't feel like filler to you. They just feel like the next story arc.
Yeah. Though, of course, since they weren't in the manga, the next story arc that was in the manga wouldn't have any of that being reflected. I'm guessing.
I mean it's usually story arcs don't get brought up that often
Hmm.
in the next one. Like usually it takes several story arcs before things like full like pay off, like the things from previous story arcs pay off.
What?
Like for instance, like we have a dragon slayer
Hmm.
on the main team, and in one particular story arc, a new dragon slayer joins the team. Well, at some point in this story arc, the first one that we've met achieves a form called Dragon Force. It is like insanely powerful. The new one, we don't see the new one achieve Dragon Force until quite a long time later.
Yeah.
Like several story arcs later, the new Dragon Slayer achieves Dragon Force.
Damn.
But that's one of the things that I think Fairy Tail does is like it masters the art of hype because it'll plant a seed of something and then tease you with it uh like repeatedly, and then when it finally delivers the payoff, it is amazing.
I can think of other things that have done that. Some things from this show, some things not from this show. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can we pause for a second?
Sure. Okay, we are back after a minor interruption.
Chicken.
Yeah, so what were we talking about before? It's been like 10 minutes.
I actually forgot.
Yeah, oh well.
I'll just begin on something that I know I haven't discussed. Oh god,
Uh,
we actually talked quite a bit through this show.
yeah, we've talked about mostly everything. I mean,
Mostly.
of course, this show had a tournament because every fucking shonen anime has to have one.
Every fucking yeah, no, every show. I swear to God, every anime needs a tournament, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, Fairy Tales was fucking long as shit and also didn't finish. Neither did this one, but it didn't matter because even if it did finish, the outcome would have been the same.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, this one made sense to the plot. Did
R-
not overstay its welcome.
Ruby also had a tournament that didn't finish.
I mean, I believe there's going to be another tournament in this show.
Good
That
lord.
it's not a typical tournament, though.
Yeah, the thing with Fairy Tale's tournament arc is that it's so long that, like, when they started it, the manga was still being written for it, from what I know, and they had to cancel, like, they had to put the show on hiatus in the middle of that arc in order for the manga to get more chapters written, and then bring the show back years later to finish off that arc.
Is Fairy Tail still going?
No, it's done.
Okay. Huh.
There is a manga being written that's kind of like a sequel to Fairy Tail that I think is set like 100 years later.
Is it with the child characters?
Yeah, I don't care.
Why do these companies keep doing this?
Like I just don't care. It might okay. I say it's with the child characters. I'm not even 100% sure that that's accurate. I just know it exists,
Okay.
and there's no anime. Like it's just manga right now.
Yeah.
So it's whatever. But this show, yeah, that like I don't know. And I want to talk about how I have a problem with that episode with like the tournament taking place and stuff. And it's
Oh
that
right, yeah.
yeah, like Jericho and the other person who I can't remember supposedly planted mines all around the place. And they didn't have time to, unless we're meant to believe that the like that the scenes that we see them flying over to the place where the tournament is happening is like at minimum an hour before the other events we're seeing. Like the timing just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, after watching a few, unless maybe there is a possibility in that, remember when a bunch of, like, Jericho was doing a bunch of bombs, like, while flying over?
I
Could
don't
have
know.
put placed a few bombs, on the outskirts of the town, like that.
I don't know. I don't just didn't feel that way to me. And then I also got annoyed when Veronica showed up, like just out of nowhere, alive again after like literally having a landmine detonate on her,
Yeah, they could have used
and like
Elizabeth's.
Hawk coming back at the end. It's just like I don't know. Can this show have consequences, please?
Oh, it will. Yeah, that's just because the main bad guys of this show weren't the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments makes Hendrickson look like a puppy.
Yeah, that's cool and all. So did the Seven Deadly Sins.
The Ten Commandments make the Seven Deadly Sins look like a kitten.
Just one singular
They
kitten.
they drop kick that kitten.
They dropped kick that kicking. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Kickin' Chicken Ranch sound.
I don't know. But it didn't feel like really anything mattered. Um,
Of course, because
I
they
still
wouldn't
have a
kill
hard
people
time
off on
believing
season one.
anything. I still have a hard time believing in that anything can really stop Bond. Uh, like his immortality is just a thing that it doesn't seem like anything would be able to work around.
That is true, though there's two things that are prevalent. One, if things are just stronger than him, sure, he can't die. He also can't do a goddamn thing about it. But also, if he's at the wrong place at the wrong time.
In other words, if the writers just write him out of that situation.
And most of the time, he will be in watching that situation, but he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying
Oh,
to me.
actually, wait, yeah, no, he was just completely written out for the longest time. I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know, it's something. And then like, you know, Gother, I've made comments about like Gother being a femboy. Like, I even remember at one point when I was first watching this series messaging you and saying
Mhm.
Gother has serious femboy energy. And then I want to say it was in one of the season 2 episodes he puts
Yeah,
on the
the boar hat uniform.
yeah, and it's just like, wow, he really leaned into that femboy energy.
There is a weird, creepy explanation for it all. And honestly, I feel like he's a femboy is just a way better explanation that they don't give.
Of course, this is Japan and Netflix we're talking about.
Well, not Netflix.
Netflix is handling this dub, so
True. But what they have here is deep rooted in the manga that they can't just easily change.
yeah, whatever. And then there was, I guess, really the only other major thing I can think of. Well, actually, there's two major things I can think of that I want to talk about.
Hmm.
The relationship between Bon and what was her name, Elaine?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was something. Elaine kind of reminds me of Noe from Fire Emblem Awakening. Just like, oh yeah, I'm like several centuries old, and I'm probably not. I'm probably immortal. I don't know, something.
I don't believe I actually don't know if fairies are immortal. I do know that their lifespan is so
And then
much
she
longer than
dies.
humans. Well, hey, I mean, so can Noe. Noe can also die.
Yeah, you can kill her off in Awakening if you're playing on classic mode.
And either you want her to die or is terrible at the game.
Yeah, kind of like you.
Meh,
That was a
I
joke.
actually I like that character.
Yeah. I mean, Noe can turn into a dragon, and what can Elaine do?
Magic, pushing people off cliffs.
Wow. Because it's so hard to push people off of a cliff.
Well, she does have fairy magic. I was
Big,
almost about to
de-
say druid magic, but druid is so much different.
big deal. Noe can turn into a dragon.
You will be seeing a bit more of her magic. Admittedly, I actually forgot the extent of her magic.
To be fair, though, she is dead.
What do you think Bond's doing right now?
I don't know. Probably meth.
Well, you'd be correct. Okay, actually, real talk here. How do you think Bond, how does Bond work when, heavily drinking?
I mean,
His liver can't die.
yeah, but I imagine he could still, like, get drunk.
Well, obviously, he's been drunk, too many times in this series so far.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like
But,
certain other characters we've come across who literally can't get drunk in other stuff, like Captain America, for example,
why can't he get drunk?
because the super soldier serum.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then,
Um,
like, later on, we will, like, watch the Arrowverse, and, like, the Flash is another character who can't get drunk.
oh, and actually, I just remembered something about drinking in this series.
Hmm.
So, I actually think they retconned something that happened in this series, or you have to take what Gother said in a very particular manner.
And what's that?
Gother can't get drunk.
Of course.
I believe one of the lines he said in this in this season is that the alcohol may be prevent affecting my judgment. That's one line I still have no idea what he meant by. Because later in the series, he says that he won't drink alcohol because it doesn't affect him. I have no idea what that line meant anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a retcon because this show's done
Yeah.
that before already. Like, even in just what we're covering today, they've retconned stuff, so.
So yeah, that's another story on itself.
But yeah, I don't know. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, like, the whole thing with King transforming. I find it incredibly hard to believe that nobody else knew, like, nobody knew who King was until, like, he transformed. Like, in all
And
that
they
time,
never bring it up again.
yeah, like, in all that time that y'all spent together all those years ago, he was only in that other form the entire time? Really?
Okay, to be fair, the captain knew. for other reasons. In fact, actually, in the backstory of King, you can actually see Meliodas.
I don't know. It's just one thing that it annoyed me. It's like, why did Bond not know who he was? Why did like it's I want to say Deanne didn't even know, which is weird because she
No, Deanne actually had to take a little bit of time to know, but then she was like, "Oh, it's King." Gother didn't know. That's because he was like analyzing his scent or something.
yeah, it's
Gother is
weird.
just weird. Gother's a weird
Gother's
character
very
who would
weird. I still
analyze
think
like
that the spell that is keeping Deanne small at the end of the series is somehow tied to that mushroom that they found in that tournament episode.
they never explain it, but since Merlin made them medicine, potion, something, I wouldn't put it past her.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That just makes logical sense to me. But
I
I
mean, yeah,
mean,
completely.
anyway, we can wrap this up if you want to.
Um, there's not much more I can say about this show without without risking saying something from the next season.
Yeah. So you can join us for season 3 in 2 months.
We also have to get through the rating.
Yeah.
I watched my audio beforehand and I gave it a 7.7.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. 7.7.
Okay. I'll give this 7.5. I
Yeah,
feel
because
like
I
this
know
show
you gave it lower.
I don't know. I feel like this show could get improved. I feel like it could be better. Actually, there
Well,
might
let's
have
just.
I might have given it lower because there probably were some things I had problems with and I just don't remember what they are now.
Yeah. Oh, I know you gave it lower than what I gave it. You probably gave it a little bit lower than this, but I mean, this has already been a long day, so
Yeah, like this has been one of the like I swear this has been one of the longest days of my life.
I literally woke up to like, hey, we have to re-record things.
Yeah.
Time zone differences.
Yeah. All right. Well, like was said before, join us next week for Rango and the Agents of Shield Slingshot and Marvel one shots, and in 2 months for season 2. You can join us next month. Not season 2, season 3. And you can join us
Yeah,
next month for the Dragon Prince. So I guess look forward to that. With all that being said, I've been
yeah.
Avery. That's been Lily, and we'll be seeing you.